The Bank of England is signaling yet another hike in interest rates as it fights inflation. That's following new comments from Deputy Governor Dave Ramsden. The bank just raised rates for a fifth time last week. Meanwhile, investors in the U.S., Europe, and elsewhere are expecting further hikes from their central banks, making borrowing more expensive. And that could hit the zombies especially hard. Zombie companies, that is. And there is such a thing. It's technically defined as a firm that's been on the market for at least 10 years, but is unable to cover the interest payments on their loans through their operating profits. In other words, zombie companies live from cheap credit. And according to a recent study, travel, media, technology, and health sectors have the most such companies. According to one study, their shares tend to underperform market averages, however, for each of those sectors. Now, as interest rates rise, the zombies will have to pay more to borrow, and that could result in more bankruptcies. Now, for more on this, I'm joined by Niels Koolwijn van Ratenau. He's a partner at the consulting firm Kearney, and he's been looking into zombie firms. Niels, thanks for joining us. Let's start off. I want to ask, can you give me an example of a zombie firm to help our viewers out here understand what these firms are?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me today. And yes, it is a phenomenon that has been around for many, many years. And we have taken a comprehensive and holistic look across the globe on these companies. What we have done is, as you said in the intro, we have analyzed companies that have been at least 10 years on the markets, but are not able to cover their interest rates with their operational profits. And typically, these are companies that have a non-working business model. So they are still alive because they still find somebody who's borrowing them money. But these companies don't have a working business model. And I cannot name specific companies, but there are about 2,000 companies globally that fulfill these criteria, and they are obviously a big harm to the trust-related capital markets.
Explain that last part a little bit more. Why does it matter if these companies are out there? I mean, aren't they providing jobs, for example?
Yeah, what we have found is that these companies are locking up around $500 billion of capital that could be employed in different companies, that could be employed with companies that have higher growth, that are more profitable, that are adding more value to their shareholders. And these companies that still receive funds from the capital markets, but are not growing and are not adding value to their shareholders and lenders, they just don't die. And why are they not dying? Is because they always find somebody in the era of cheap money we have seen for the last 10 years, who is able to provide them with funds, either on the equity side or on the debt side.
That appears to be changing now. Briefly, does this mean that bankruptcies for these companies would ultimately be a good thing?
Obviously, I mean, zombies destroy the trust in the capital markets, as they are much more vulnerable to external shocks than healthy businesses. And they just are a form of misallocation of capital funds. And the big danger we are seeing with these zombies is that once one of them is falling, it could be like a domino situation that a lot of them are falling, and then the trust-related capital markets might be harmed. And that's a big danger that goes out of the zombies. Plus, it is just a misallocation of capital.
All right, Niels Koolwijn van Ratenau with consulting firm Kearney speaking with me about zombie firms. Thank you very much.
Thank you.